My book, When the River Ice Flows, I Will Come Home, started out much differently than it ended up. The initial inspiration for the book was a set of letters in Russian and in Yiddish that my father left in his office before he died, and which we found. These were all handwritten, some in beautiful, beautiful Russian script, easy to read, and some were the opposite, very difficult to read, squished up with multiple letter writers on one page. My first task, however, wasn't even close to thinking about writing a book. Not at all. My task was to see what the letters said. I knew nothing about my father's family, only that we were Jews whose family lived in a village near the city of Kiev, a provincial capital of the Russian Empire. I didn't know the story of my father's family, but I knew I could learn. No, I never thought about writing a book. I only wanted to puzzle out the story of my father's family by puzzling through their letters. My academic preparation, my Russian reading abilities, my background in research in 20th century contemporary Russia were ready for this. The letters themselves were inspired because Eli, my grandfather, left his wife and 6 children in the village of Gorodischye to make a new start in America. The letters were all one way. The family left behind sent many letters to him in Wilmington, Delaware. As I read them, ciphered them. These letters told their story of living 8 long years separated from him before they finally were able to join him in America. So no, I didn't have an idea for a book until I figured out there was a story to be told. The story would tell about a Jewish family living in the middle of enormous cataclysms in Russian, Ukrainian, and Jewish history. The Ukrainian province of Kiev was one of the major epicenters of these cataclysms, geographically, militarily, and politically. In 1914, Eli leaves for America. 2 months later, the Tsar declares war and enters World War I, facing military aggression from the Austro-Hungarian Empire on its borderlands just west of Kiev. Everyone is conscripted. 3 years later, the Tsarist monarchy, the Tsars collapse, social revolution prevails. Then, 1918, again, the family is separated. World War I ends, the German armies slowly retreat. Civil war for the control of Russia begins between the fallen monarchists and the now energized socialist revolutionary armies. Besides this fight, there's also other efforts going on right in the province of Kiev, right in the middle of which is this village of Gorodischye, where Ukrainian national independence reemerges. Poland decides to try to take Kiev. Enough military activity for many a historian. In 1921, the communist Bolsheviks gain control of the Russian countryside, but the great famine of 1921 and 22 descends. And then, and only then, and after that, really with the establishment of Soviet power, did the family was able to emigrate. I say that because before that there was no state. Everyone was fighting for the control of the state, or the government, the power of Russia. So that's how I got the idea for a book. There was a lot going on. Somehow, though, deep inside me, I knew what I would learn would make a difference for me personally. And if I was clever enough, I could illuminate and thus help others to understand these 8 tumultuous years of Russian history. Not just Ukrainian Russian history, but more. My father's family was a traditionally Jewish one. Without any clarity on why I wanted to know more, I wanted to know more. I didn't know what it was I was seeking until I knew what it was I was seeking. The meaning of what it means to be Jewish, what it meant for them, what it means for me, the role of Judaism in my life. Puzzling through the letters, there was the sense always present. I just wanted to bond with my father and my father's family. So it became easy to dive in, to learn more about them, to feel their experience, to become educated in matters of their Jewish tradition. I wanted to connect me with them, and so the motive for my further investigations becomes something quite large, to understand why or how it is that I am who I am. So the subject got bigger. Okay, I may now know the early life of my father, but he married my mother, whose early life was totally different. My mother's Jewish parents left Tsarist Russia before World War I, before the cataclysms. They took with them their socialist causes and brought them to America. Now my work becomes more than I imagined. I was learning about my parents' early lives. I was learning how their marriage, a bad one, created in me certain conflicts that both gave me my essence as well as gave me my own challenges. The work I was doing on my manuscript was now a 3-generational memoir. It was then I realized I had a book, a possible book, a book project. My memoir, When the River Ice Flows, I Will Come Home, is about who I am, from whence did I come, what meaning is there in the life I have lived. These questions, this work is easily the most important I've ever done. My life at a surface level has been like many others, a mother raising children within the context of a difficult marriage and at the same time with a demanding and engrossing career. But there is one significant difference. My career was unlike most. I became a specialist in the economic and business world of the Russian Far East during the decade before and the decades after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Why, when all my 4 parents fled Russia, was I now making a career of my work in Russia? I believe I have been able to connect the dots and come through with a reasonably cogent story of 3 generations of hopes, aspirations, and dreams. My hope for this book is that readers will not only enjoy my own discoveries of self, but will see the great value in taking their own journeys. Finally, how grateful I am for the editors, agents, and publisher to believe in me and encourage me so that I could share my experience with others.